So Tyrese Haliburton has a torn right Achilles, and this season has been devastating when it comes to Achilles tears and ACLs. Tyrese had a right torn Achilles. Jason Tatum tore his right Achilles. DeJounte Murray turned his right Achilles. Kyrie, because we forget about Kyrie. Kyrie tore his left ACL. Damian Lillard tore his left Achilles. Isaiah Jackson, right Achilles. James Wiseman, torn Achilles. Grant Williams, meniscus damage. Um, let's see, then Anthony Melton, torn ACL. Morris Wagner, torn ACL. Drew Smith, ruptured Achilles. And I started thinking, like, what in the world? Because back in the day of like the Jordan era, guys weren't getting torn Achilles. You had Dominique Wilkins tore his Achilles, but he was such a high flyer. I was almost expected just the way he jumped all the time. But he tore his Achilles, but he came back. He wasn't the same, but he came back. And then Isaiah Thomas, he tore his Achilles, which basically ended his career. But both of those guys at that point, they were later in their careers when they tore their Achilles. These guys, a lot of these guys, especially like Tyrese and Jason Tatum and DeJounte Murray, they're in the prime of their career. So it's like, well, what's causing these things? I have two theories. Theory one is AAU ball. I think, I think the NBA and high school basketball and middle school basketball, I think they need to rethink how many games these kids play. Because by the time a lot of these guys end up coming to the league, so if you're a kid and you start playing AAU ball, even as a kid, like a little kid, 8, 9, 10, and you play in your middle school, high school years, and then you go to college for maybe a year or two, you've played a lot of games already coming into the NBA. And I think they might need to kind of curtail how many games a young man and woman, because there's a lot of girls tearing their ACLs too, or Achilles. They might have to curtail how many games these kids play. The funny thing about LeBron James, and a lot of, LeBron's played forever. And I think one of the things that helped LeBron is that he didn't play basketball until he was in middle school. LeBron James was a Pee Wee football player. And he didn't start playing basketball until he moved in with Frankie Walker. Frankie Walker was a Pee Wee football coach. And LeBron and Gloria kept on bouncing around, and LeBron didn't have any structure. So the coaches were deciding who can bring in LeBron because they all love LeBron as a kid. Frankie Walker and his family took LeBron in, and LeBron was still a football player, but Frankie Walker and his son played basketball at home, and that's when LeBron started playing basketball. And even then, LeBron still had to figure out how to play because he was a football player. And even LeBron, when he became the chosen one and all that stuff, he still played football for Bookto High School. So LeBron is like one of these rare guys today where he just wasn't basketball only. He got to basketball a little bit later than most kids, and even then, he still played football. So he used different parts of his muscles. Like if you're any of your baseball people, you kind of know that there's been a rash of Tommy John surgeries. And it's the same thing where a lot of these young guys are doing traveling baseball, or they're playing baseball year round, and they keep on using the same pitching motion all the time. Which at that age, you're wearing down a ligament, a muscle that guys used to wear those down when they were in their 30s. So that's why you see a lot of teenagers and even young stars, pitchers at MLB having Tommy John surgery in their early 20s just because they're doing traveling baseball. Same thing with young men and young women playing AAU. They're using the same muscles over and over. It used to be back in the day, you played 2 sports or 3 sports. Michael Jordan played baseball and he played basketball. I think the repeating use of keep on using the same muscles over and over and over again is leading to these injuries. So there's one. 2, it's the shoes, as Spike Lee would say. It's the shoes, man. Because I was thinking about the Jordan. So it's the 40th anniversary of the Jordan 1. If you look at the Jordan 1, that thing looked like a tank. If you look at those Sean Kemp shoes, they were huge looking shoes. The difference is they were weightier, because I think those shoes was kind of like 17 ounces, 18 ounces, versus today, which are like 11 ounces. But they protected the ankle. They were leather bound. The insoles was better. There was more padding around the ankle area. It wasn't about speed and agility back then. It was just about protecting the ankles so you don't sprain your ankle as much. Well, as the years went along, now everything's about speed, agility, quick cuts, and the shoes are a lot lighter. Back in the day, because you don't even hear about high tops anymore. Back then, a lot of those shoes were high tops. A lot of these shoes today are low tops, and I just don't think the way players are playing today, shooting three point shots, cutting, just Everything is just pushing the ball because you don't see too many teams that slow down the ball too much. Everything's just fast, fast, fast. Cut, cut, cut. Um, I think it's actually been bad on the joints. So if you're wearing a shoe that doesn't protect your ankle and they're low tops and they don't have and the insoles aren't thick and you don't have leather padding and you don't have anything that's protecting the ankle, now you start hearing all these dudes with hamstring problems. And every time I hear a guy say, "Oh, I got a hamstring problem," I'm always at a point where I feel like those guys should not play at all. Like you kind of knew, which is so sad. You kind of knew when they say Tyrese Burton had a hamstring problem, but he was going to play anyway. You kind of knew that the case of him tearing his Achilles was going to happen. We saw it in KD when he played for the Warriors. We saw it with Kobe a few years before, about 2015, 16 when Kobe tore his. It's just when you ever hear a guy they said, "Oh, he got he has a pulled hamstring or he got a hamstring issue." I think the team need to step in and say, "You're done. You're done." Because every time we hear that, and even though they might not play at all, like Damian Lillard, he was having hamstring problems all of this season, and he was gone for a while, and then he came back and he tore his Achilles. You almost have to treat hamstring injuries like you broke a bone. You almost got to say like, no, this guy can't or gal can't play for at least a month until that thing is fully healed. Now Tyrese, he tried to gut it out, and he got by. In Game 6, he got by on Game 6, and he was on fire in Game 7, but he made that move, which wasn't even a move. We've seen it all the time. He just moved a little bit and he collapsed. So I do think the way they make the shoes these days, Nike, Under Armour, all these guys, I think they need to start looking at the structure of the shoe. They got to find a happy medium between being able to be agile and move on the court, but at the same time, I think they got to make a thicker shoe to protect the ankles, which in turn protects the hamstring, which in turn protects the Achilles tendon. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think is causing these injuries? Do you think it's AAU that these guys are playing way too many games by the time they reach the NBA? Do you think it's the shoes, that the shoes are way too lighter versus the days of Jordan where the shoes were high tops and they're thicker and they protected the ankles? Or do you think it's something else? Get well soon, Tyrese and Jason and DeJounte and Kyrie and Damian and everybody else, man, who's torn an ACL or Achilles. These things shouldn't be happening. The league's got to do something. Or the Players Association. And also AAU. We got to protect these guys and gals because young ladies are going through the same thing as well. Get well soon, everybody.